Hey everyone, buckle up because today we're going deep, really deep into a career that I think a lot of you are going to connect with. We're talking about social services policy. It's all about turning compassion into action. And we're using RoleCatcher today as our guide.
It's a good one, yeah. It's
Oh,
about being a voice for the voiceless.
yeah.
It really is about crafting policies that can truly make a difference.
Okay, so let's break this down. RoleCatcher describes a social services policy officer as someone who researches, analyzes, and develops those crucial policies that impact individuals and communities facing challenges.
Right, right.
So we're talking about issues like access to healthcare, affordable housing, um, support for seniors.
Yeah.
These folks are on the front lines of making those systems work better.
Yeah, what's so fascinating about it is that it's not just about crunching numbers. It requires a deep understanding of the human impact of these decisions. These officers are often working directly with people, understanding their needs and making sure those needs are reflected in the policies they create. It's that bridge between, research and reality.
It's like being a detective,
Yeah,
an architect.
I like that.
Right, you're uncovering the problems and then designing solutions.
Yes.
RoleCatcher specifically mentions working with children and the elderly, two groups that often rely heavily on social services.
Absolutely. And while they highlight the immense reward of making a positive impact, which, let's be honest, is a huge motivator in this field, they also don't shy away from the emotional weight of this work. We're talking about potentially dealing with heartbreaking situations, navigating complex social issues, advocating for those who might not have a strong voice of their own.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about being tough-minded but tender-hearted, right? You need that balance to really thrive in this field. So for those of you who are intrigued and thinking, okay, how do I actually get started? RoleCatcher lays out a pretty clear trajectory.
Yeah. It often begins with internships or entry-level positions where you're assisting with research, digging into data to identify trends in areas for policy development, basically learning the ropes, building a solid foundation.
It's like an apprenticeship, really, for social change makers. You're
Yeah.
getting that hands-on experience, seeing how things work on the ground level, absorbing knowledge from, more seasoned professionals.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you can progress to, more senior roles, taking on greater responsibilities, leading research initiatives, and even designing and implementing programs.
So it's not just about analyzing data, it's about turning those insights into like actual tangible change.
Precisely. And speaking of tangible change, RoleCatcher actually shares a pretty powerful anecdote from a social services policy officer working in child welfare.
Okay.
They were tasked with addressing the issue of children aging out of foster care without adequate support.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
A critical issue.
that's a critical issue. What happened?
Well, this officer really dug deep, interviewing those who had aged out of the system, understanding their challenges, identifying the gaps in existing policies.
Right.
And then they used that research to advocate for policy changes that provided, extended support services like housing assistance and educational grants for young adults who had aged out of foster care.
That's incredible. I mean, they literally changed the trajectory of these young people's lives. It
Yeah.
really shows the potential for impact in this field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as you progress in your career, that impact continues to grow. You'll find yourself engaging with more influential stakeholders, from community organizations to government officials,
Yeah.
all working together to create a more just and equitable society.
It's like you're building a coalition
Yeah.
of change makers.
Exactly.
But with greater influence comes greater responsibility, right?
Definitely. Definitely. As you climb that career ladder, you're not just responsible for your own work, but also for mentoring and guiding junior officers, sharing your expertise and fostering the next generation of social service leaders. It becomes a cycle of positive impact.
I love that, paying it forward. RoleCatcher also talks about the importance of continuous learning in this field, which makes sense considering how much the social services landscape can shift and evolve.
Absolutely, yeah. They highlight the value of pursuing certifications, like a certified social worker, CSW, or a certified public manager, CPM.
Okay, so those certifications, they're like badges
Yeah.
of expertise, right? But what makes them so valuable in this particular field?
Well, a CSW, for example, demonstrates specialized knowledge and skills in social work practice, which directly translates to working with individuals and communities facing challenges. A CPM showcases expertise in public administration and management, which is essential for navigating the often complex world of government agencies and public policy.
So it's about, going deeper, specializing your knowledge, and gaining those credentials that really make you stand out.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Right.
RoleCatcher really stresses that, the
Yeah.
importance of attending conferences, joining professional associations, connecting with others in the field. It's not just about adding lines to your resume, it's about building those relationships, sharing insights, learning from each other's experiences.
It's like that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It sounds like collaboration is key in social services policy.
Absolutely. And, it's not always easy. RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat the challenges of this career path.
Yeah, they talk about the emotional toll, but what about the day-to-day realities? What kind of hurdles do social service policy officers often face?
Well, for one, there's often that, frustrating bureaucratic red tape to navigate.
Oh, I'm sure.
Think about trying to implement a new program. You might encounter, resistance, funding cuts, or just a mountain of paperwork.
Ugh, passion projects versus paperwork battles. Not exactly a fair fight.
Right. And unfortunately, limited resources are a common challenge.
Yeah.
Social services often rely heavily on government funding and grants, which would be, unpredictable.
Right.
Policy officers often find themselves doing more with less, stretching every dollar, and advocating fiercely for the needs of their communities.
It sounds like you need a healthy dose of resilience
Yeah.
to thrive in this field. Knowing how to navigate those challenges, secure funding, and fight for what's right.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Despite the challenges, the rewards are immeasurable.
Right.
Knowing that you're making a tangible difference in people's lives, that you're contributing to a more just and equitable society, that's incredibly powerful and motivating.
It's about connecting your head and your heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Using your skills and knowledge to serve something larger than yourself. So for all of you listening who feel drawn to this path, what parting advice would you offer?
I'd say first and foremost, identify what truly ignites your passion. What social issue keeps you up at night? What population do you feel most compelled to serve? Because that passion will be your fuel, especially when things get tough. Then never stop learning, connecting, and pushing for progress.
Beautifully said. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful, and I hope it sparked a fire in those of you who are ready to make a real difference. Remember, a career in social services policy isn't just a job, it's a calling. Go out there and be the change makers the world needs.